ourselves as we present to you our e-portfolio. We are the 4th year BSc Science Group 2.
The Activity 1 focuses on teachers' knowledge on content and pedagogy. It highlights the significance of teachers' content knowledge mastery and its interconnectedness within and across curriculum areas.
Principle Learning 1. It was utilized in the preliminaries, the presentation of the lesson, stating the learning objectives and giving instructions. The teacher checked the learner's attendance, gave the background of the lesson, introduced the learning objectives, and elicited their prior knowledge. Principle Learning 2. Evident during discussion, motivation, and recitation. The student-centered class was manifest. Active participation was encouraged and evident throughout the class. The students read, recited, shared prior knowledge, and displayed a sense of volunteerism to give assistance to their fellow learners. Principle Learning 3. Used during the lesson's development, generalization, and application. The teacher gives learners opportunities to share their ideas, reflect, and work on those ideas to find their relevance in us and in our environment. Principle Learning 4. Utilized during the assessment and evaluation portion. The teacher assigned an individual task and assessed how students influenced the learning experience, able to establish the right balance of summative and formative assessments for students' learning, and there was also consistent student engagement throughout the lesson proper. Yes, the only one that was not applied is principle number 1. It is not achieved because the teacher simply interpreted the learning outcome before moving into the lesson proper. Critical thinking, cooperation, and communication skills are skills vital for today's society. The inquiry-based approach was utilized, which is a good way to enhance critical thinking, problem-solving, and reasoning skills. Active and participative learners were evident, which indicates how established their communication skills are. By answering students' questions as an opportunity to learn and approach problems as an exciting challenge. To enhance critical thinking and creativity skills, an inquiry-based approach was employed, encouraging students to participate and find answers. For communication skill, sharing of ideas were encouraged and employed collaborative learning activities. Verbal and nonverbal communication skills. The teacher used words and body language during discussions and communication with learners. Listening skills. The teacher listens attentively to the shared ideas and thoughts of the learners. Lastly, responsiveness. The teacher responded to students' concerns. The teacher created a safe and supportive environment, as well as good tone and body language, which made students feel comfortable expressing their ideas and paying attention during the discussion. When the class became noisy, the teacher paused and signaled the learners to be quiet.
The teacher began the lesson by recalling what students had learned in the previous lesson. She encouraged student involvement by asking the students about their knowledge about the topic. Students were given the opportunity to share their ideas. The teacher used the deductive mode of teaching and asked her students to read the topic presented on the screen. Also, the teacher's presentation of the topic was commendable, as her voice is audible, lively, and entertaining, capturing all students' attention. Throughout the learning process, the teacher gave an opportunity to the students to create and share their ideas regarding the topic, split and separate, and discuss it in a nice setting in the class. Examples were given to students to better their understanding of the lesson. The strategy or technique used for this part of the learning session was similar to the ones used in the development of the lesson, where pictures or images were presented and the students were asked about the topic. After identifying, students were asked to justify their statements. The teacher gave a quiz for the assessment of the learner's knowledge in the subject matter. The strategy used in this part of the learning session involves careful analysis and application of concepts learned in the class. The teacher gave the students an assignment about their topic.
Yes, it proves that during the discussion, the students' participation, repetition, transference, relevance, and feedback are observed. Based on our observation, we can say that the approach was appropriate and we witnessed the learners how they got and learned the lesson. Yes, the reason they are passive or silent is because of their nature and personality. Some students are innately shy, quiet, or introvert. They are lack of inspiration or motivation and lack of interest in the lesson or subject matter. Yes, in the classroom, effective communication is vital. The communication approach employed by the teacher were engaging and enthusiastic. Learners have different learning styles or preferences. The teacher adopted several techniques to communicate with them. These include verbal instructions, picture cues, and posters that were well presented to the students during the class. The possible learning principles and strategies we would apply in the class to elicit meaningful learning are: learning should promote active student participation in class. Learning must be supported by effective assessment and regular feedback. Students learn differently, therefore, instruction should be differentiated to meet the students' learning needs, styles, and demands. Learning is meaningful when it is applicable to students' daily lives. The most important thing for us as pre-service teachers is that learning is a lifelong process that requires the exploration and discovery of knowledge or ideas. And when students see the value of what they are learning, they can easily understand the concept. Therefore, teachers should make the lessons connected. We learned that the teacher promotes learning by emphasizing a student-centered approach in which the learner takes responsibility for their own learning and often collaborates with classmates. As teachers, it is our responsibility to constantly be kind and to keep the students engaged in the lessons that are being taught.
The activity 2 focuses on
Piece
ideas
of the principal is where curriculum planning and development takes place. The library aids students in finding and using high-quality information from reliable sources. Counseling room gives students guidance to help them resolve any personal issues that are affecting their academic performance. The canteen or cafeteria is mainly responsible for offering reasonably priced nutritious snacks and beverages to students and school staff. The medical clinic is integral to the students' overall health and well-being, as education and health go hand in hand. In audiovisual or learning center, students could experience a meaningful learning environment and adapt new learning strategies through the use of audiovisual aids. Science laboratory offers real-world applications for scientific theories and concepts, improving students' scientific literacy abilities. In gymnasium, various events and extracurricular activities took place which contributed to the learning and development of the learners. Auditorium offers a chance for students to perform and showcase their talents and skills. Outdoor gardens allow students to interact with nature and learn to take responsibility for protecting the environment. The home economic room provides opportunity for the students to learn the necessary life and entrepreneurial skills. Comfort room for girls provide the female students a break from class to retouch so they may feel more comfortable. Comfort room for boys is associated with self-help skills. Having a clean and sanitized CR will prevent the learners from getting diseases. Computer laboratory helps students improve their digital literacy abilities. And the faculty room serves as a spot for teachers to develop and plan their lessons.
Every facility in the school has a specific function and serves a particular purpose, but we believe that the most useful facilities are those that are involved in daily sessions, tackle the needs of the students, and have a direct impact on their learning experiences. All of the facilities were found to be useful. However, we consider some facilities at PSAT to be the least useful because they were rarely used or visited and were not used on a daily basis in the educational process. These are the facilities we observed or remembered that are not stated above. The Pangasinan School of Arts and Trades, or PSAT, is a public school of higher learning offering technical and vocational education and training. The kind of environment that surrounds the school is a city-like community. It is bordered by various historical landmarks including the Capitol Building. For the school to function properly, it needs support from the community. These facilities will encourage students to continue to develop their knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Classroom management refers to the teacher's efforts to create and maintain a learning environment that supports both academic success and students' moral, social, and emotional development. The following are some of the classroom management strategies we observe. The classroom management strategies contribute to having a safe and conducive learning environment. These classroom management strategies were used before, during, and after the lesson, as well as during assessment or evaluation. The teacher listens to the explanation and tries to understand the background or context of each learner. The following are classroom strategies that the teacher utilizes to keep the learning environment safe and conducive to learning.
Useful is a term that has something to do with the significance and functionality of the subject. Therefore, we believe that a facility can be considered useful when it serves its purpose. A facility should support and improve both teachers and students' overall school experiences. If a facility provides students the opportunity to improve their academic performance and cater to their learning needs and preferences, we can say that it aids learning. The environment plays a crucial role in students' learning. It is a highly influential factor to academic performance of the students. In our opinion, of the 4 types of classroom management, the authoritative approach is the most conducive to learning. Definitely yes, the Pangasinan School of Arts and Trades serves as a premier training institution which provides modern and advanced training environment to help the students become globally competitive, skilled workers, and productive entrepreneurs. If given the opportunity to create one, we'll focus on the physical and socio-emotional environment. Several studies have found that classroom management is vital in helping teachers achieve optimal learning in their classrooms. Our ideas in designing and learning environment are the following.
Distinctness of learner in diverse classroom. Learner diversity or diverse learners. Despite a variety of challenges and differences, learners are the most important people in the educational process. Dr. Carl Balita emphasized on his YouTube channel that every student is different, unique, and special in their own way, and that they should be celebrated and respected. He also emphasizes that importance of teachers being able to use a variety of instructional strategies and techniques because students have a multiple intelligences, different learning styles, and diversity is always beautiful, and both teachers and students should respect, celebrate, and embrace it. Interaction between students and with the teacher is prevalent, inspired by teaching and learning strategies that create a positive learning environment. According to observations, students' behavior is likely to affect their learning because diverse learners behave and interact differently, ranging from silent to talkative, active, and in unison. Overall, the observation shows that learners interact cooperatively. They actively participated in class discussions and ideas sharing. There was no conflict among the students. Boys participated in class discussions more frequently and actively than girls. Furthermore, students who actively participated were seated in the front and middle seats. The teacher asked some students to provide the given and solve the problem on the board during the problem-solving and group activity. However, there was one student named Robert who was unable to correctly answer the question. His seatmate attempted to assist him, but he was not listening, so the teacher then asked another student to respond to the problem.
Analysis. Every student in the class has a specific role. Some are active, some acts as a leader, some acts as a teacher, and some enjoy cracking jokes, which entertains everyone. The students' individual differences makes the class more interesting and enjoyable, which increases the students' motivation to learn. The teacher is like the ship's captain, and the ship is the classroom, with the passengers as the students. As a result, the captain or the teacher has the command, and his or her role is to make the journey more fun, enjoyable, until they reach the goal. As we observed the actual classroom, we were happy, excited, and motivated. The teacher's teaching method and applications of learning theories and principles impressed us. We noticed a sense of belonging among the learners as well as between the teachers and the learners. Our observations and lessons learned from this experience have prepared us to be better teachers in the future. It will be a difficult task for us as a future teacher to create a class that is united in the midst of diversity, but one thing for sure is that we will do our best. In the future, we would like our classroom to be interactive. We would like our future students to get involved in class, where they can freely express their thoughts and ideas without hesitation. Take an active role in the learning and demonstrate initiative and cooperation. Some of the strategies or all of the strategies that we will employ to make this happen are shown on your screen.
Preschooler indicate age range of children observed under 5 years old. Under the physical, gross motor skills involve the movement of large muscle groups in the body. She was able to walk, run, jump, and climb. At the age of 5, the child could use a pencil to write and draw, as well as crayons for coloring. She was able to brush her teeth and comb her hair. Preschooler's physical changes were noticeable. The child is taller and more slender. Under the social, based on the learner interview, she was actively participating in the class discussion. She enthusiastically answered when her teacher called her name to recite. Based on the learner interview, she said that she enjoys socializing or playing with her classmates. She really loved to play with her peers. She liked to color, draw, and practice writing her name. Frequently, they are capable of having sudden mood swings. At the age of 5, the child was still lacking in impulse control, sometimes refused help from her parents or from other adults. Under the cognitive, preschooler's vocabulary continues to develop and broaden. She can already sing nursery rhymes at the age of 5. She enjoyed playing with her dolls and toys at the same time. Preschoolers learn best through exploring, observing, listening, and asking questions. Elementary indicate age range of children observed under the 9 years old. Physical. Learning these gross motor skills is essential for balance, strength, body control, and coordination. He can write in cursive slowly. At the age of 9, he helped his grandmother harvesting plants in the field. Social. Based on the learner interview, he said that he adheres to or follows classroom rules set by his teacher. Based on the learner interview, he really loved to talk to his classmates. He occasionally makes fun or teases his peers. He likes playing outside with his peers. He is a fun person who is always up for interacting with his friends. Emotional. Preteens or elementary students are maturing emotionally. Tantrums are less frequent. He was starting to have a crush and was aware of his body. Also, he begins to have a strong empathy. Elementary students are strongly influenced by their peers. At age 9, he is learning how to control his emotions. He starts to develop his own identity. He is shy in participating in activities or socializing with other people. Cognitive. He could communicate with the same language forms as adults at the age of 9. His use of language is more sophisticated. He could communicate with the same language forms as adults at the age of 9. His use of language is more sophisticated. At age 9, there is a rapid development of problem-solving skills. Being in the 4th grade, he could perform multiplication and division. He was more open to exploring new things in his surroundings. Preschool indicate age range of children observed under the 13 years old. Physical. At age 13, she is in the early stage of adolescence, which improves her ability to move her body with greater skill and precision. She does her laundry. Her breast is starting to develop as a sign that puberty is starting. There is a rapid rate of growth. Social. Based on the learner interview, she concentrates and always listens intently throughout class discussions. Based on the learner interview, she always does her best to work with her teammates when there is a group activity. She spends her time socializing online than in person because she can totally express her opinions through online. Her perspective on things, particularly her priorities, grew more serious and mature. Emotional. At age 13, she is very conscious of her body or looks. She seeks for more privacy. Transitioning from childhood into adolescence is overwhelming. Cognitive. She has a wider range of vocabulary and can express her ideas in complex grammar. She has an understanding of another's feelings and thoughts. When she is having simple problems at home, she is able to come up with her own solutions through trial and error. She begins to make her own plans for the future.
Level. Preschool. Age 45 years old. Salient characteristic observed. Love to explore things, receive praise and rewards, and have short attention span. Implications to the teaching and learning process. Therefore, the teacher should give activities to support curiosity, use positive reinforcement to increase confidence, and make the students feel excited and not overwhelmed with lots of activities. Next level, elementary, age 9 to 10 years old. Salient characteristic observed. loves working with their classmates, loves to receive praise and rewards, and learn in repetition. Implications to the teaching and learning process. Therefore, the teacher should give activities to support their curiosity, use positive reinforcement to increase their confidence, and give support to their learning. Next level, high school, age 13 to 15 years old. Salient characteristic of SIR. They have their own decision making. They can convey messages correctly, and they learn in a meaningful way. Implication to the teaching and learning process. The teacher should use the best learning strategy and help them enhance their speaking skills and give relevant lessons.
During the observations, we felt nostalgic. We longed to go back in time and reminisce about the good old days. Meanwhile, as we observed the learners, we noticed how much we had in common with each other back when we were their age. Every student has a particular teacher they will always remember, whether for good or bad reasons. There is one teacher who I will never forget, for whom I am always grateful. She gave me the confidence to believe in myself, which helped me to develop emotionally. She was my science teacher. Through this observation, it is clearly shown that every student is different and special in their own way. They have unique characteristics that set them apart from students. They also have different needs in terms of physical, emotional, social, and cognitive aspects. They learn in different ways. What seems to work for one student may not work for another.
The activity 4 focuses on the teaching learning resources, ICT, and the curriculum.
Here are the examples of curriculum. We have policy guidelines for recommended curriculum. We have grade 9 science DLL for written curriculum. We have teaching styles for taught curriculum. We have teacher integrating the use of IMs for supported curriculum. We have a quiz or post test for asserted curriculum. We have knowledge, skills, and values for learned curriculum. And lastly, we have a positive learning atmosphere for hidden curriculum. Understanding the different curriculums and through the observations conducted as a pre-service teacher, we knew right away that there was such a curriculum in the DepEd schools and laboratory schools. As pre-service teachers, we learn about the concepts and types of curriculums. Therefore, we know and are aware that there is such a curriculum in school as it is the backbone of education. Next up, we have 4 elements or components of a curriculum, which are the desired learning outcomes, content, teaching and learning methods or strategies, and assessment or evaluation, where every element mentioned is explained briefly by how it relates to planning the daily lesson. After a thorough analysis of the daily lesson plan DLP, the lesson was designed effectively for active learning. Thus, the flow of the activities is aligned with the objectives and learning outcomes. The lesson was broken down into activities that aim to achieve the objectives gradually, one phase at a time. The examples given were based on their complexity. Mastery of the simple ones is first assured before introducing or giving a more complex problem. Also, it is presented through the use of MELT-based objectives. Hence, the educational experiences should be set systematically using criteria or step-by-step after analyzing the curriculum objectives. Create an effective educational experience by analyzing and organizing the topic skills components, developing effective teaching strategies, and guiding the learning. The educational experience should be tailored to each student's learning style and relevant to real-life situations. Overall, this variable should be considered to maximize learning for the target group.
Meanwhile, during the class observations, there are noticeable ICT resources that are utilized throughout the lesson proper that aim to enhance and improve the efficiency of the teaching-learning process. Whereas, in the motivation part of the lesson, the teacher asked and reviewed the students. In the presentation of the lesson, the teacher utilized a laptop and projector for video, a board and chalk for presentation, and also for the development of the lesson and in generalization. While in application, enrichment, and fixing skills, the teacher uses verbal communication, and lastly, for evaluation and assessment, the teacher uses chart or Manila paper. In reflection to the planning, managing, and implementing developmentally sequenced teaching and learning processes to meet curriculum requirements in a varied teaching context, here are our ideas. With regards to the alignment of learning outcomes with the targeted curriculum competencies, here are the ways of setting achievable and appropriate learning outcomes that are aligned with learning competencies.
This is Activity 5, Assessing Learning Outcomes and Reporting Feedback. Here is the resource teacher's profile. These are the assessment tools used by the teacher that we have observed. Question number 1. The assessment tools listed below the assessment for learning column, which contains the question and answer and recapitulation, are formative in nature. Question number 2. Giving a quiz or post test at the end of the lesson is an example of a summative assessment. Here are the intended learning outcomes or ILO projected by the teacher and the assessment activity that supports each ILO. A teacher we interviewed claimed that Bloom's taxonomy is always taken into account while creating tests. 60% of the test questions will include lower order thinking skills, 40% was designated for the higher order thinking skills. The test questions should be in line with the learning, actual classroom discussion, and MELT's recommendations. Now, here's the result of the interview conducted.
Let us move forward to the analysis. Question number 1. The evaluation provides helpful input on how to improve instruction and determines whether intended learning objectives and outcomes were achieved. Question number 2. Formative and summative assessments are integral parts of teaching and learning process. Formative assessments will gather data that may be used to enhance instruction and the student's learning in a real-time situation. Summative assessment assesses the student's learning at the end of the unit and serves as a reflection of the learner's progress in a lesson. Question number 3. The assessment that was administered by the teacher during the assessment of learning was a short quiz. We assume that the teacher has not prepared a table of specification or TOS for this form of assessment, as it is not required. Question number 4. The teacher aligned the given task and the assessment tools with intended learning outcomes. She unpacked the learning competencies into more specific, measurable, and attainable learning objectives appropriate for each lesson. Question number 5. The teacher our group had observed, utilized, an evaluation of the student's performance with a short quiz and an extension activity. However, the teacher did not provide any type of scoring rubric. Question number 6. On our observation, that students had no difficulty answering the teacher's questions because the teacher used short, straight to the point, simple language in asking questions for the students to easily understand the question. Question number 7. The most frequently encountered problem is how the teacher will remedy the situation for those students who fail to pass an exam or quiz and handling a lot of diverse learners. Teachers often encounter challenges in reporting grades to parents and guardians when their child's grades are different from those of other students.
So proceeding to our reflection, the number one question is assessment benefits both students and teachers in the same way. So in creating a good learning environment, there's a need to maintain students' interest in learning and discovering new things. Question number 2. So students need to be reminded that assessments are carried out to aid their learning and not to instill fear in them. So as teachers, we won't just use formative and summative assessments on paper. We will also consider using their creativity, their critical thinking, and more performance-based assessments. For our third question, as a teacher, we will clarify the expectations, objectives, due dates, and instructions for doing a particular form of assessment. Proceeding on to the number 4, as you can see on the table 1, it shows the weight distribution of the summative assessment components per learning area for grade 1 to grade 10. Moving on to the table 2, it shows the weight distribution of the summative assessment components for senior high school. Lastly, for the table 3, it shows the sample computation of written works and performance tasks in math or science for grade 1 to 10.
Now here are the documentations and evidences.
The activity 6 focuses on teachers' skills and connection to the
Ma'am
community.
Michelle S. Dizon has been a teacher for 19 years and is a 42-year-old master teacher too at the Pangasinan School of Arts and Trades. According to Ma'am Dizon, being passionate, having the right attitude, goal-oriented, and open-minded are her attributes of being an efficient and effective teacher. Her awards received lays a good profile for her job. She received 3 high winnings. First is the division level module making contest. Secondly is in the regional level module making contest. And lastly, she won as outstanding teacher. There are 2 types of research conducted by Ma'am Dizon. First is the effectiveness of the crafted module on the student. Second is her masteral research. Ma'am Dizon was also active in participating in other extension activities. She is a coordinator on gender and development. And secondly is Youth for Environment and School Organization, or what we call YESO. These are the 5 social roles and functions of a teacher. First question, how did the teacher conduct his or her action research? Here is the answer. Second question, describe the extension project of the teacher is was involved, and here is the answer.
School community engagement increases equitable access, cost-effective resources, and quality of performance in the education system. 2. When it comes to dealing with a bigger community, we can either report the achievement or results through representatives of the bigger community, or we can utilize and maximize the use of digital technology that we have in these modern times. 3. As a teacher develops life skills, they are able to assess their teaching practices and strategies. Their professional skills will help them overcome the changes and equip them for the tasks and for performing their functions. 1. As future teachers, we will establish a good relationship by using some of our strengths. We can create activities for community building that include all members in the learning process. 2. In order to invite the stakeholders to engage in school community projects and activities, the school must first develop a credible image with the purpose being the welfare of the majority. 3. We will enhance our personal development by facing and overcoming our fears and keeping a positive outlook on life. We will enhance our professional development by continuously reading and learning.